Welcome to Home Health Aid Training Center. This is a home care aid DHS approved training school. We are based in Federal Way, Washington, United States of America. And our school is located behind Walmart on 312, next to Pacific Highway and near to Federal Way Transit Center. And therefore, you can easily access our learning institution, whether in physical, and also you can find our courses online. My name is Dr. Stephen Jenga, and I'm your instructor. And today, for the series of the lessons that we are going to start, we'll be learning about the fundamentals of caregiving. This is the book that, or this is the course that tells you about everything that you need to know in terms of taking care for vulnerable adults. And the more you learn, the more you gain skills that will help you to be able to serve our community in the best way possible. So this book has over 10 modules, and these 10 modules, in each and every module, the way you're supposed to do it, at the end of every module, there are review questions that you're supposed to, actually 11 modules that you're supposed to go through, and this will help you to be able to familiarize yourself with the type of services that is needed. So module 1 is about introduction. And it talks about the ground rules and the learning styles so that you can gain knowledges and skills for life. So module 2 talks about the client and the rights for the client, because the client has a right. It doesn't mean because the client has a disability, we say that disability is not inability, and therefore they have the right to receive the best service ever that can help them. So the lesson 1 talk about who is the client, and lesson number 2 talks about client rights and freedom of choice, confidentiality, client's right to make healthcare decisions, and advance directives, long-term care ombudsman program. And then we have abuse, mandatory reporting, restraints, effective probing, solving, and there is the module review. So we'll go module by module, so that we'll make sure that we cover enough in each and every segment, so that we can be able to have and familiarize ourselves with all that pertains in fundamentals of caregiving. So we have what we call in this module 1, and I say this learning styles. Module 1 is a welcome note, and the key word is how to help you to successfully complete these courses. So, and therefore what we can say is that this will help you, the person, the way you use the physical senses to learn. How are you going to use your physical senses to learn? So first of all is welcome, and welcome to the revised fundamentals of caregiving class. This course is very practical and a basic class in caregiving, meaning you need to know everything that is in this course, so that you, when you go to do it practical, you will be able to give yourself the best. So you are an important part of this class, and we want you to leave the class confident with your knowledge and skills, so that you'll be able to provide quality care. So quality standard. And what is our core values for home aid training? 1 is professionalism, or professional ethics. Another core value is integrity, and another core value is offering high quality standards of education. So you need to be very committed to the class. So we usually say that every student must be fat, meaning the student must be faithful The student must be available, and the student must be teachable. So you have to open your mind and open your heart so that you can be able to learn. So maybe a few questions that we can start with is you answer some questions in this module. This asking, what is your name? What is your favorite color? Those are questions. What languages do you speak? Because sometimes the class may comprise of people with diverse languages. And then what is your favorite activity or hobby? This helps you to be able to connect with the other learners in the class. And where do you work as a caregiver? So if you're not working or you are new in class, of course you answer that you're new. So that is what you need to know first, and then we can you need to know about 5 major learning goals. So what are the 5 major learning goals? Number 1, understand what is required and expected of you in your job. So you need to know, you need to understand very well. So if you're coming to work in my company, you need to understand what are your roles, what are your duties, what are the routines. You understand your job well. Number 2, you need to know how and why is it important to protect the client's right. You need to know why is it important to protect clients' rights. That is number 2. Number 3, you need to use good communication and problem solving skills. Are you able to communicate? That's a big question. So are you able to communicate with the client? Are you able to communicate with your provider? Or are you able to communicate with your supervisor or using the protocol? So are you able to communicate with the family members and other care team members? Remember, you're not the only person who is taking care of these client. There is the primary physician, there is the registered nurse, there is the social worker, there is the provider or the supervisor. So all those people, they form up what we call a care team, and you need to be able to communicate with them in a very open and very straight way. So be able to protect the health and physical safety of the client and yourself. So when you're serving the client, safety, we say safety comes first. So you need to protect the client. So point number 5, you need to correctly provide personal care, because you're helping in activities of daily living like bathing, toileting, washing clothes, cooking, doctor's appointment. You need to help your client with all those activities, and you have to be able to collect without using any activity, any shortcut, and without endangering your health and that of the client that you're taking care of. And also honoring clients' privacy. That means when you're getting into a client's room, you need to knock the house, to knock the door and ask whether you should come in. And then when you come in, you have to provide privacy. You have to close the door behind you. Privacy, you should not disclose or discuss the client's information with anyone or disclose them in the outside the work environment. You also need to honor the differences, because different people have different opinions, and then you're supposed to encourage a client to do as much or she can. So if you come to my work environment and you find a client who is able to feed herself or himself, and probably takes a very long time, let's say probably even have an hour or an hour, the goal is, if you're a good caregiver, you should encourage the client to do as much as he or she can, but not actually trying to feed him directly, because that will really disable him and make him to depend on you so much on feeding him or herself. So to successfully complete this course, you are required to attend all classes. You're supposed to attend all the classes and pass written and skills demonstration tests. So you have to pass written tests you have to you have to pass the demonstration test that we're gonna give you. So the written test will help you and your instructor know whether you have learned the key points in this course. So the purpose to help you, it will give us a feedback and it will help us to know whether you have learned anything of importance. And then so you're supposed to do that by making sure you complete the modules, and you should be prepared to pass the written test. So skill demonstration will help you and the instructor know whether you can do personal care tasks or the activities of daily living without any problem. And you'll be given a plenty of time in class so that we are going to give you. So beside this online class, there is what we call the skills lab, where we intend to schedule a day that you will come and be able to do the demonstration skills and tests. So for you to be able to learn properly or to go through well, to learn this course carefully, you need to be rested enough, you need to learn, you need to keep outside demand the distraction of the classroom, maybe going out to answer a phone call, distractions, that may hinder you from learning. So you also need to ask questions if you do not understand something. So you're not just attending the class for the purpose of attending, but you're attending class so that you can gain knowledge. So be able to listen, take notes during lectures and skill demonstration. And where you don't understand, we are here to help you. So also watch demonstration, carefully, and use practice times wisely, because when it comes to the state exam, you are given between 25 minutes and 30 minutes to do both written test and skills test. So that is why you need to use your time properly and effectively. Take an active role in study teams and discussions, and also be committed to getting most out of the class. So, and then after that, we'll be able to give you a revised fundamentals of caregiving and train certificate. So after you pass, of course you have to pass you cannot get a certificate before you pass this. Okay, so keep your fundamentals of caregiving training certificate with our important records. You need it if you will need it if you change jobs. It proves you successfully completed the class. And then again, additional training requirement: complete this course is only one of the caregiver training requirement. You must attend at least 10 hours of an approved continuing. This is actually now not 10, is about 12. So you need to attend at least 12 hours of continuous education every year. This is requirement begins is already in place, and so it is designed, though continuous education is designed to keep your skills and knowledge current. It's like a refresher. You refresh yourself. Continuous education must be on topic, relevant, and the care needs of the client and the care setting. Topics may include, but not limited. Some of the topics, they are like traumatic brain injury, client's rights, mobility, elimination, medication assistant, mental illness, dementia, developmental disabilities, depression, medical communication skills, or medical conditions. So some of these are some of the continuous education that you need to have. So if you cannot make it to class, if emergency comes up, it is good that you let your instructor know during break or lunch. If extra support is needed, you need help with writing, reading, understanding English, or have other problems, let the instructor know at the first break. So dress yourself as you would for a job. So wear neatly and smartly. So learning style, each one of us has a way of learning that feels more natural and easy. Identify your own natural style helps you understand how to get information in ways that works best for you. So, and of course, there we have some learning styles there. Writing direction are easier for me to follow than someone explaining something to me. There are people who can study on their own and they will really still understand. There are other people who like the style of I like to write things down or take notes to look later. That is another style. I can easily understand and follow direction on maps. There's another style. I can understand a new article better if I read it rather than hear it on TV or radio. That's another way. I remember more about a subject if I hear it rather than read it. So if a teacher is the instructor is teaching you, you can easily be able to remember. I usually need someone to explain graphs, diagram, or facial directions to me. That is another style. I can follow verbal direction better than written ones. Another one is I can spell better by repeating letters out loud rather than writing the word down. That's another style. Another style, learn best if I'm allowed to try something new. That's another one. Another style, I enjoy working with my hands. That's another style. I can remember best by writing things down several times. That's another style. Another one, I use a lot of gestures when I talk and I'm well coordinated. So those are some of the three. Those are some of the styles of learning. The three primary styles, they use the sense of sight, that is what you see with your eyes. They also use your hearing, and they also use touch. So three styles. One, you use hearing, you use your sight, and you use touch. So let's talk about sight. So people who learn best by sight, they learn best when they can see. So if they see something on television, they will understand. So remember what they have seen easier than when they hear. They also remember faces better than their names. So that is somebody who uses the sense of sight as a way of learning. And the other one is helpful. A visual picture of what needs to be done is helpful to you. Ask person to show you rather than tell you. So if I put on something on the television or as a video, it will stick to your mind more. Take notes so that you have something to look at later. Picture in your head what is in you to remember. If you have to read something, use colorful highlighters or underline important points. Then go back and review what is highlighted by reinforcing learning. So that is another way. So people who learn by hearing, what they do, they learn best by listening and asking questions. They also like to hear verbal instruction when the instructor is telling them. They are great listeners. They will remember what someone said to them easier than the person's name or face. They use the sense of hearing. They enjoy talking about often needs quiet in order to concentrate. So they don't like somebody. If you make noise when they are leading, they will not be able. When the instructor is teaching them, they will not understand. So helpful hints for such kind of student: you need to ask others to tell you the important things you need to know. If you receive written instructions, say them out loud to yourself. Talking things out with others. If you have to learn from a book or article, underline the important points and then go back and read them round. That will help things to stick in your mind. People who learn by touch, sense of touch, they learn best when they are able to do what has been done or understood. They may ignore the written directions, and when learning a procedure, just try to figure it out. Remember, people by what they did. So that is some helpfulness. When you give verbal or written instruction, you may not feel comfortable until you have a chance to actually do it. Those are people who use the sense of touch in learning. Make sure take time and understand all other important steps and pieces what you're learning. Use your finger or your bookmark to follow along while reading. Move around as much as possible when learning or thinking about new things. Smell and taste. The sense of smell or taste are not often primary way in which people learn. The sense of smell is one of the oldest and most primitive of the senses and often is a strong trigger for memory and not learning. The sense of taste often triggers an emotional reaction. Working with other people. If you find you are confusing or frustrating someone else, often the other person's learning style is different than yours. So, and if you understand that different people have different learning styles, we will be able to respect and honor other people's styles and attitudes towards learning. So change what you're doing or saying to better match how the other person learns and understands. If you find yourself confused, frustrated, ask for information in a way that works best for you so that you can get most out of what you're being taught. So that marks the end of module 1, and now we go to module 2, and this is talking about the client. And what we're going to learn, the general overviews of the client, how clients get a care plan and services, the type of person care services a client may receive, working with the client as an individual, common changes associated with the aging, and importance of honoring differences in caregiving. So we need to have several definitions here. And number 1, we need to understand the working environment, and one of them is adult family home, which is abbreviated AFH, adult family home. And this is a residential or a neighborhood home licensed to care for 2 to 6 people. So an adult family home is a residential or a neighborhood home licensed to care for 2 or to 6 people. Assessment, gathering information to determine what to help a client's needs. So before a client is admitted to an adult family home, there is an assessment that is done to determine the client's need. Then we have another one called the boarding home. A boarding home is a larger residential facility licensed to take care of 7 or more people. So a boarding home takes more than 7 people, or 7 or more people. Then we have what you need to understand is a care plan. A care plan is a written plan. Is a written plan that outlines everything the care team is to do to support a client. So that plan is usually written down probably by the primary physician so that the client can receive the support that is needed. So we have care setting. This is where a client lives, a care setting where a client lives. This is an adult family home, a boarding home, or an in home. Then we have a care team. Everyone who provides care and services for a client, including professionals, relatives, and the person receiving care, is what we are calling the care team. And the care team, I said, there's a number of people. There is the primary physician, there is the registered nurse, there is the job coach, there is the social worker, there is the caregiver, there is the provider, there is supervisor, there is family members, the relatives. All those, they work together, and even the client himself, that is the care team. And then we have developmental disability. This is a condition beginning before the age of 18, and it is expected to last in a person's lifetime and substantially limits him or her in some of these areas. Let's say like self-care, they're not able to probably to toilet themselves or give themselves a shower or clean their teeth. They're not able to wash their clothes, cook for themselves, do doctor's appointments. They have limitation in terms of communication, learning, mobility, self-direction, mental retardation. Examples of these are developmental disability. Example of them are mental retardation, cerebral palsy, and autism. And then we have got what we call DSHS plan of care. A plan of care, or the care plan, is written by the Department of Social and Health Services to represent a DHS client. Then you have personal care services. These are tasks done to help a client with his or her activities of daily living, or what we call ADL. So I'll see you in the next lesson. We're gonna take a break and we'll continue from there. Home Aid Training Center, training skills for life. See you in the next class.